What is going on, guys? It's ThePowerBauer 2 here, and wow, I cannot believe we are just over 2 months away from the end of 2018. 2018 gave us a wide variety of great titles. We got Mega Man 11, Kirby Star Allies, Mario Tennis Aces, and there's that fighting game coming out in December which I guess looks alright. But with 2018 rapidly coming to a close, let's look ahead to 2019 and see what we'll be getting in terms of new games, announcements, and other speculation for the brand new year. There are several titles that have already been announced to be released in 2019, but many of them do not have an exact release date. We do know that we will be getting New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on January 11th, 2019, but that's pretty much it for any specific release dates. And this game is just a remake and it wasn't even necessary, and it's definitely just a cash grab by Nintendo. But to be fair, I'll probably still be getting it because I'm a sucker for Nintendo. One title we know is slated for a 2019 release is Yoshi's Crafted World, and it kinda almost feels like a Woolly World sequel at this point. It has no official release date at this moment, but if you take a look at NintendoLife.com, the game is slotted for a second quarter release in 2019. This means the game is projected to be released anywhere between April and June, which is kind of a pretty large time frame. But if I had to take a guess, I would predict an April release. This game kind of feels like it will fill the same time frame as Kirby Star Allies did this year in 2018. It's still a very popular character, but is not hyped up nearly as much as some of the other games. It is possible that it could be released later than that and closer to E3, but I would expect it to be released earlier in April or May, maybe even as early as March, but probably not since that's technically the first quarter of the year. Luigi's Mansion 3 was revealed during the Nintendo Direct in September, and I have to say, thank God it's coming to the Switch. If it was coming to the 3DS like Luigi's Mansion 2 or even the remake that was just released, I would have written a very strongly worded letter to Nintendo. This series began as a weird title to say the least for the GameCube, but it has surprisingly become immensely popular. Personally, I didn't really enjoy the sequel as much as the original, but I am looking forward to this third game. Because of the spooky and ghostly vibe that this game will contain, I am expecting a Halloween release date. It probably won't be the exact date of Halloween, but it will probably be sometime in October, similar to the time that Mario Odyssey was released in 2017. Now, the game I am looking forward to the most in 2019 is the main series Pokemon RPG. We literally know nothing about it other than the fact that it is being catered more towards true Pokemon fans, while Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are geared more towards casual players. That being said, however, I think it's pretty obvious what this game will be and when it will be released. This game will be a Generation 8 game that we've all been waiting for, and it will be released in November. The last 4 games have all been released in November, with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and now Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It just feels like a perfect fit, especially since we know nothing about these games and they can be hyped up throughout the entire year. I would bet money that Gen 8 will be released in November. Now, Animal Crossing has been one of the most requested Switch titles pretty much since the console was even revealed. It was revealed during the September Direct similarly to Luigi's Mansion 3, but we didn't receive any gameplay. We just got an animation of Tom Nook talking and looking adorable as usual. This game will be one of the bigger titles of the year, which makes me think it will be released around the holidays in December of 2019. But at the same time, I don't know if they want to cram so many big titles at the end of the year. Luigi's Mansion 3 will likely be released late in the year, and Pokemon is pretty much guaranteed to be released in November. And if Animal Crossing was in December, they would all be in separate months, but that may overpopulate the end of the year. I could see Animal Crossing being released earlier in the year because of this, and honestly, I feel like Animal Crossing should be a March release because these games all just feel like spring titles to me. But if we don't hear anything by like January, expect a late 2019 release. Fire Emblem 3 Houses. First off, what the f is that name? Second off, I know jack shit about Fire Emblem, and I'm not even gonna try to pretend like I know anything. I'm probably not the best source of information for a game like this, but it is slated for a 2019 release. This could be released in the spring, as many Fire Emblem games have been released in the spring before, but I am predicting a June release. The last game was released at the end of June of 2015, and I think it will most likely be the same. They can show off the title at E3 and then release it about a week or two after that. Again, I am not very knowledgeable on Fire Emblem. Honestly, all I know about them is which characters are in Smash. Now, these last 2 titles are being put together because I have the same opinion about both of them. Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4 are 2 games that I really want, but we haven't gotten any more than a logo for either of them. To be fair, that is more than we have for Pokemon, but they at least said that'll be a 2019 release. We have no idea when you're going to be getting these games, or when we're even going to get any gameplay. Like I said, these are on the list together because I believe they both could be talked about at either E3 or a Nintendo Direct in 2019. But the main thing about these 2 games that you need to know is, do not expect a 2019 release for either of these games. These games are likely going to be 2020 releases or very late releases in 2019. 2020 makes a lot more sense to me because we haven't heard anything about these since they were first revealed, and there are so many other big titles that are coming in 2019 that it's kind of full, honestly. 2020 pretty much has nothing that we really know of at this point, and releasing one of these early in the year could get 2020 off to a very good start. But I will say, please give me these games in 2019. Nintendo, give me my second and third waifus. If you're wondering who my number one waifu is, it's my bae Zelda. Specifically Skyward Sword Zelda, but it's not that important. So now we've covered the major titles that we know are at least in the works for Nintendo, but there is so much more to talk about in terms of what's coming in 2019. DLC is one of the biggest additions to games that any title could have. It allows you to get more content than was originally available at launch. Great, right? No. DLC. I have a very long list of reasons as to why I don't like DLC, but I'm not going to get into that because I would probably end up rambling for like 30 minutes. All I will say is, why don't you give us the full game, and why do you make us end up paying extra for little extras that are available at launch like Breath of the Wild that's so dumb they just want to make money? Sorry about that. DLC it brings a lot out of me. Anyways, there are several games that I believe could be receiving some sort of DLC in 2019. Now, the game that I want DLC the most for is Breath of the Wild, even though we'll probably have to pay for it. But it's my favorite Nintendo Switch game, so I just want more content. I want another quest to complete because I have 100% in the game and I have nothing left to do. I'm not really expecting this one, but I just wanted to mention it in case someone from Nintendo decides to watch this video for some reason. If you are, please do this. One game that I definitely can see receiving DLC in 2019 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Smash 4 gave us 6 different downloadable collections that each had new characters, stages, and Mii Fighter costumes. I don't expect us to get as much DLC as Smash 4 because there's already so much in the game. There are over 100 stages, and at the time of recording this, 68 unique fighters plus Echo Fighters. There will eventually be DLC fighters added, but I wouldn't expect as many as Smash 4. But I could see us getting a couple next year. Be on the lookout for some sort of announcement of DLC in early 2019. I wouldn't expect it before March, however, because they will want to give the game some time by itself before adding anything. Now, I'm only mentioning this game because depending on if we receive DLC for this game will likely determine if we're getting a sequel. Super Mario Odyssey is probably the most requested game for DLC. And yes, I know we've gotten that stupid picture art and Luigi's fucking balloon world, but nobody wants that. People want an entire new kingdom. Actually, to be honest, people kind of just want Mario Sunshine HD. There have been rumors floating around for a potential Delfino Plaza kingdom for months, but we have no real concrete evidence or reasoning for this. The reason I'm bringing up this idea of DLC is because if we do not receive any DLC kingdoms for Mario Odyssey, I believe that they are probably saving it for a brand new title. Mario Odyssey might be the most well-received Mario title ever, and just look what they did with Mario Galaxy. They actually wanted to give that game DLC with new galaxies, but instead realized it could be its own game, which is why Mario Galaxy 2 was released. I honestly think the same thing is happening right now with Mario Odyssey. This feels like the game that this could happen for because there are so many possibilities with the kingdoms. If we do not receive any information about DLC kingdoms in 2019, expect a sequel in a couple years. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is consoles. First off, throw the 3DS in the trash. It had a good run with some great games and kind of saved Nintendo because of the Wii U's failure, but its time is over. The Switch is a home console and a handheld, so the 3DS doesn't really need to be around anymore. I still honestly expect it to be around for a few years, but I expect much fewer big titles for the 3DS. There have been a few reports saying that Nintendo will be releasing a new version of the Nintendo Switch in 2019. This new version will, quote, likely share many features with the current version and be compatible with existing Switch game software. Personally, I've never had any problems with my Switch, but I am curious as to how this new version will actually be an upgrade over the original. They are considering upgrading the screen with LCDs to make it, quote, brighter, thinner, and more energy efficient. I can definitely see this happening as the screen is currently only 720p and can't give the full HD quality of some games. But besides that, I don't really know what else they can do to improve the Switch, but make sure to be on the lookout for an announcement for this new console in early 2019. But don't expect a release until around November to capitalize on the holiday season. And lastly, I definitely believe that we will be receiving a Nintendo 64 Classic in 2019. After the PlayStation Classic and the Nintendo 64 patent that was recently filed, it's almost certain that it's coming at this point. I'm not going to get too into this because I actually made a whole video speculating about this, so if you really care, you can definitely go check that video out. All that matters is that you can expect this Classic Edition coming in 2019. Just wow, 2019 has so much content coming, and there's probably so many more things that we have no idea about. Now, just for fun, I'm quickly going to go over a couple things that I really want to happen in 2019, even though they might not be the most likely, I still really want them to happen. What I want is a new Kirby game. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but I would prefer something a little different from the normal formula. But please don't make it a remake like Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. Skyward Sword HD, it's the only 3D Zelda game that's never been remade, and it deserves a remake even if it's not as popular to some people. Not me though. This is the best Zelda game ever. Come at me, haters. Mario Sunshine HD, everyone wants it to happen and people would go crazy if it was released. But I will settle for a Delfino Plaza themed kingdom either as DLC or in Mario Odyssey 2. Mario Kart 9, just a better version of Mario Kart 8. Lastly, I need Geno for Smash, Bandana Waddle Dee for Smash, Banjo-Kazooie for Smash, and Waluigi for Smash! And yes, I need help.